Hello everyone, I'm Ryder Gamer. I'm here to tell you on what this video is about. I'm gonna try to be serious here because this is about killing, I think. But this video is about animals that have committed a bunch of crimes and yet has not been arrested. That's the only joke I'm gonna make. But grab your popcorn and learn about animals that are very dangerous. Goodbye now.
When it comes to Asia, there's no shortage of things that want to kill you and then mutilate your corpse just for the fun of it. But one of those things that do it scarily and exceptionally well is the sloth bear. This thing, though being classed as an insectivore, sometimes has a hunger for humans. Due to habitat loss, this creature is always coming into contact with humans, which is just making the deaths pile up even more. And not only that, but this creature has a nasty habit of going for the face. Meaning that most survivors have an eye, or parts of their cheek, or parts of their forehead, or their lips, or their nose, or parts of their eyebrows, just anything on their face missing. And not only that, but people who don't survive usually have their entire faces ripped off, exposing their skeleton, muscles, and tendons. Sloth bears commonly run fights with jaguars, leopards, other bears, and even tigers. And, they win. They don't lose. Sloth bears don't lose. Sloth bears, being insectivores, have 3-inch or 8 centimeters claws that usually come in handy for ripping apart termite nests and dens. But since they have a hunger for flesh sometimes for seemingly no reason, those claws are not only good for digging termite nests, but also killing humans. Just last year, an Indian farmer was killed and partially eaten by a sloth bear. The 45-year-old had attacked it with a machete after it came onto his property and he was fearing for his life. Then the animal retaliated and it started to maul him to sudden death. And then it began sitting there and eating his remains. But during the attack, his cries attracted a scene, and the people there started throwing stones to scare it away. But then, seemingly as sloth bears do not care about anything or anybody, the bear started charging at him just for a second round of mauling. The farmer was mauled so severely that parts of his eyes were missing and his eye sockets were ripped out completely. Parts of his mouth and parts of his jaws were completely missing, being swallowed by the bear itself while he was still alive. Here's one of the photos of him fighting with the bear, which shortly after this photo was taken, he would die. The grizzly bear is the strongest animal in North America, and it's a contender for the strongest carnivore in the entire world. But grizzlies are pretty rare to come across in predatory attacks, but when it comes to territorial attacks, well, they're less rare. And with grizzlies being armed with claws that can vary between 2 to 4 inches, it's no big ordeal that grizzlies can deal damage to humans. And when they're looking on this in sight to kill, well, this is the story that happens. For over a decade, Timothy Treadwell spent most of his summers camping out in Alaska with wild bears, and he loved bears. He spoke to, played with, and even touched them out in the wild. He gave each one a name and classed them as his friends, like real human friends would. But his luck ran out on one stormy October evening, just hours from when he was due to be picked up by the seaplane to return to his house because it was becoming wintertime. He was mauled to death in front of his girlfriend, Amy Huguenard, 37, before the bear turned on her. And instead of the seaplane finding him good and fine, waiting on the shore, there was an eerie silence, like nothing was happening and there was nobody actually there. Then he stumbled upon the mutilated remains and a bear feeding on their rib cages. This was the last photo on Timothy's camera, and the bear in the background would be the bear that would evidently maul him and his girlfriend to death. When you weigh between 3,500 to 9,900 pounds, there aren't much things that threaten you. Having a 2,000-pound bite force equipped at all times, you aren't threatened by things. Things are threatened by you. And if you haven't already noticed, this title clearly belongs to the hippopotamus. Though hippopotamus encounters are rare and attacks are even rarer, when they do happen, the victims looks like something you'd see off of Jeffrey Dahmer's Polaroid camera. A pet hippo. Actually, let me just pause you right there. When you hear the words pet and hippo right beside each other, you already know something's gone awry. And this is what I mean. A pet hippo mauled a man to death in South Africa who used to ride and would describe as he was like a son to him. He'd be found dead and mauled inside of a river with huge bite marks tattooed across his body. The ruthless creature that would do this would obviously be the hippopotamus he earlier described as his son. His name was Mr. Els, and he was a resident of the Free State Province in South Africa. The 6-year-old pet hippo named Humphrey bit Els repeatedly and then dragged him into the Vault River close to his home before he would be mauled. Man adopted Humphrey. He was just a baby at the time, 5 months after the hippo was rescued during a flood in the river. Yes, the same river that hippopotamus would maul him in was the same river he was rescued from in the flood. He would often enjoy playing with Humphrey, and Humphrey would even let him play with him while he was in the water, which is when hippos are most aggressive. Nobody knows why Humphrey mauled him so severely like he did when they clearly had a close and strong relationship. The hippopotamus was not the villain of this story. It's a wild animal. You shouldn't adopt it anyway.